What's up YouTube? Leon here, and today, let's talk about weird stuff. Video games are no stranger to the weird, especially in the indie game market, whether it be mechanically, artistically, or all of the above. Indie games are the art house of games. So here are 3 weird indie games that are worth your time. Are you a fan of Metroidvanias? I kinda like them. Kinda too many of them though. But Lost Ruins is a weird one. You've got a cute anime girl exploring a dark dungeon, killing things pretty brutally. That sounds painful. It has clashing styles where the cute stuff is only skin deep. Look at this boss. Oh, I died. This comes into our next weird idea, and it's Lost Ruins difficulty. This game isn't something you can just play and enjoy casually. It asks the player to take their time and treat every encounter seriously. Why? Because look at this attack speed. This is slower than swinging a greatsword in a Souls game. Lost Ruins was designed with intention. You can't just run and smash through encounters. It was designed to make you think of what tools you have at your disposal. For example, the Gladius is too slow for this type of enemy. Why not a dagger? Enemies attacking me with ranged attacks? How about magic that slows down projectiles? You see oil on the floor and enemies around? Why not light it up? And by the end of the game, you can have some crazy builds at your disposal, like a mana regenning, chain lightning, battle axe wielding girl. Or you can just hide behind a shield and attack things. Lost Ruins has a ton of flexibility when it comes to playing the way you want. Graphically, this game has some of the most detailed environments in terms of pixel art in recent memory. Each environment has their own feel and atmosphere, accompanied with some great ambient music. Character animations are fantastic, making every encounter reactable and fair. And look at that idle pose. It doesn't fit with anything else in the game, but it sure is nice. Story-wise, the game is the typical main character has amnesia, you need to find out what's going on thing. She doesn't even have a name, it's just heroine. The overarching story is pretty throwaway and predictable. But where the story shines is in its characters. All goofy, charismatic, and of course, weird. You have a goblin named Boris who just wants to leave, but keeps getting killed by a witch named Beatrice. What about a pair of zombies that are big fans of a certain K-pop group? It's these little encounters that break up the brutal and dark aspects of the game, and gives Lost Ruins its unique flavor. Not everything is all sugar and roses. Lost Ruins is short. Around 5 to 6 hours for all side quests, bosses, and map completion. This game is also a little buggy. I had the occasional screen freeze or achievements not unlocking. But fortunately, nothing game-breaking so far. At the very least, for its short runtime, there are a few different modes. These kinda act like classes where you can be a mage or an assassin, where only certain weapons and items can only be used during that run. And one other mode where it's kind of a spoiler, so I won't talk about it here. If you're looking for a short, challenging Metroidvania with a lot of heart, Lost Ruins may be up your alley. This game is on Steam for $20, and it's pretty neat. Why not give it a shot? Remember being fresh out of college, looking for whatever opportunities you can get, even an unpaid internship? I haven't, but this game certainly has. Going Under is a story about just that. This unpaid intern Jacqueline?
Jacqueline.
Jacqueline?
Jacqueline.
Jackie was in over her head when she wanted to be a marketing intern at Fizzle, a company that makes something like Soylent, but it's a soda. But as an unpaid intern, Jackie ain't doing what she thought she was. She's killing monsters instead. At the beginning of the game, Fizzle was actually bought by Cubicle, a giant delivery corporation that makes use of drones to deliver the goods. Amazon. But under Cubicle's umbrella are a few businesses that are a little bit shady. These failed companies are the basis for Jackie's dungeon crawling journey. You go in and start beating up goblins, crypto miners, and hot demons for their assets. Because that's how businesses work. Going Under is a huge satire to failed tech startups, but you don't need me to tell you that. It's all in the game's description. All you need to know is that this game is weird. Going Under is a beat-em-up roguelite that doesn't take itself too seriously. How the game works is that every time you enter a new room, almost anything could be used as a weapon to defend yourself with. And because everything could be used as a weapon, everything also breaks. Fast. The game wants you to constantly look for ways to efficiently beat up enemies. Gameplay-wise, Going Under has fairly simple mechanics. Jackie can pick up a weapon and either swing, power swing, or just throw the weapon at enemies. Each weapon also has varying weights, which affect your attack and movement speed. But where the game really shines is in its item pickups and enemy types. Item pickups, just like in many other roguelites, are passive buffs that the player can collect. Things like faster movement and attack speed, or odd ones like a chance to charm an enemy on lock-on, or starting every room with a disguise. And like with any good roguelite, there are a huge pool of these to unlock throughout. Enemy types vary from dungeon to dungeon, each having their own ways of fighting them. These range from typical jobber types to even ones that buff others or even drive cars. There's enough variety here to never feel stale or be too easy. One thing I didn't touch upon is the graphics. The developers somehow made that modern techie graphic design look in 3D. This charm also extends to its characters and story. It's surprisingly heartwarming, but I don't want to spoil that for you guys. I could talk about this game for hours, but I'll leave it up to you guys to play it for yourself. Going Under is on Steam for $20. If you're looking for a roguelite that doesn't take itself too seriously, this game might be something you're looking for. Horror and weirdness are two things that go hand in hand. I mean, look at clowns. They're weird and terrifying. How about a game that's weird and terrifying? Oh shit. Golden Light is the last game I want to talk about. This game is weird. In almost every aspect, this game was made to be weird. So let's take this piece by piece. Let's start with the story. The main character, whoever you are, is trying to get their girlfriend back from the clutches of meat. Her name being She. So you search through the gut to find all her body parts to get She back to one piece. There's probably a lot of symbolism and stuff. There's like a weird NTR scene. It's kinda hard to focus on that when the whole game is like this. Golden Light is a roguelite first-person shooter. It has elements of survival horror and some prop hunt thrown in for good measure. It may sound like a weird mix. That's because it is. The only thing conventional about Golden Light is aiming and shooting. Visually, it's a noisy mess that was meant to confuse and disorient. Of course, the game takes a lot of inspiration from Silent Hill and the low-poly CRT-ish PS1 effects. Artistically as a whole, Golden Light perfectly captures the horror of the unknown. On the topic of unknown, let's talk about the consumable items. Every time you start a new run, items randomly get assigned effects. You either need to throw, eat, or read about these items in order to know what it does, every time you re-enter the gut. While it may sound like something unnecessarily cumbersome, it fits in line with Golden Light's premise. While in the gut, you'll meet with many of the denizens that inhabit its confines. This is where the prop hunt idea is thrown into the mix. One of the first and most common enemy type is the Mimic. And just like in prop hunt, these guys roam around the map disguised as items lying around. But unlike that game, they hunt you instead. While there are many enemy types, there are just as many other things that aren't out to kill you. Things like the Glutton, who gives you items in exchange for different things. Or Hugs, who repairs your weapon for rubbing gold on him. It makes you feel that it ain't all that bad down here in the gut. That's because the gut itself is a character. Not only just a character, in my opinion, the main character of the game. Always changing, ever shifting. The gut is the star of the show. It even has an opinion of you, the player. Depending on what you do, could change what the game will throw at you. If you run around, make too much noise, and kill too often, the game will get harder and more relentless. You want to be on the gut's good side to have a more pleasant experience. And that's because the gut is a living thing and has feelings. You know what else has feelings? Your weapons. Each weapon has a name, an effect, and can all break after a certain amount of use. Some weapons even want something in exchange for using them, or they might just inflict status effects on the player. You can even use weapons on yourself if you're feeling masochistic, or if you have a regen as an effect to heal. And if you're on your last legs, just eat them. Just make sure that it's not poison or something before consuming. Let's not forget the bosses, each holding a piece of sheet. It's the only enemy in the game that you have to defeat to progress. Each as disturbing as the last, the final obstacle to get your loved one back. Golden Light is weird. There's a lot more to this game that you should experience for yourself, especially if you're a fan of horror. This game is also in early access, so the developer could just add more weird things by the time the game gets fully released. It's also the cheapest game on this list at $12.99. If you're looking for something that's unlike anything out there, make sure you experience this game, one way or another. That was 3 weird indie games that I think is worth your time. Hopefully you guys will give them a shot. The indie market is the only place with ideas you'll never see anywhere else. If you played a weird indie game that you love, why not tell me about it in the comments below? This is Leon from Humans Play, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.